Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I created Magic and Miracles in order to help people of all walks of life understand that manifestation is really simple. It's not easy, it's really simple, though. A child can do it, and how to best achieve their dreams and goals, and how important, first of all, it is to achieve their dreams and goals in order to really understand your everyday power. I've been a coach now for 10 years, 3 years on YouTube, and 7 out of those years off YouTube. And I created the signature coaching program, which is a signature coaching package on my website. The link is below, specifically for the YouTube audience in order to achieve as much movement in your quantum leap process as possible in as little time as possible. And I recommend 2 to 3 months in this coaching program. This is the amalgamation of all the best teachings, techniques, methodology that I have tried with thousands of people in my coaching as well as in my own life that definitely work. They're infallible if you just follow the yellow brick road of the coaching process as well as of my guidance. I channel in my coaching as well as for my channel. So this message right now will be channeled because inevitably I structure the coaching process around my client. I never cookie cut it. I never copy and paste it. There is the structure of the coaching process. There is that of the coaching program. But the person coming into my coaching always takes precedence. So whatever they need in that sense, whatever their issues and concerns are at that moment. But symbolically speaking, first order of business is to process what I call your mama drama panorama, to cover your history. This is really important for me so I can get to know you better and to get to know the structure of your belief system, the blueprint. All right. This most certainly is a deviation from the original blueprint, which I call symbolically, again, the golden Buddha blueprint, which is the original plan with which you came into this existence as a human being, to which I help you quantum leap yourself gradually throughout the process of coaching. Now, of course, upon completion of the coaching process, even though it's so intense, it really is designed to help you with its intensity. We meet 3 times per week via Zoom session or a phone call. Upon completion of the coaching process, you need to digest everything and implement it into your life. And then 6 months from that time, or maybe a year from that time, people do come back for touch-ups. But at that point, they're not the same person. They are not in the same emotional state. They're not dealing with the same problems. All right. So, but you have to show up ready to rock and roll, and you do have to do your own part and to continue evolving after completing the coaching. And like I said, implementing those teachings into your everyday life. I also teach what's called energy work in my coaching. No coach on planet Earth teaches this the way that I do. I've done my research, and everything I teach, essentially, like I said, a child can understand it, is if you are disciplined enough and if you are kind enough to yourself to continue being diligent on this yellow brick road, as I said. So to be in my coaching, you first need to schedule a 1 hour session. In the session, we converse, we rendezvous, we make sure we're a good match. You tell me your story. I ask a lot of questions. I definitely give you advice, which even at that point, if you'll walk away without getting into my coaching, you will succeed if you take this advice and cash it in, as I say. However, at the completion of that session, you will need to sign up for the signature coaching package if you want to be in my coaching. And the reason this is important is because I can only handle that many people in my coaching in order to do a good job. So you need to demonstrate your commitment. Otherwise, I will move on to the next person who's ready to rock and roll. So no hard feelings in that sense, but please come ready when you're booking the one session. There are other packages on my website. The links are all below. There are also the installment payment links if that's what you necessitate. And if you have any questions before booking, absolutely reach out. And please don't forget to sign the coaching agreement even before you book the 1 hour session. All right? Now, as a reminder, please get familiar with the plethora of my work on my predecessor channel. The link is below. And this is a new channel. So big subscribe and big thumbs up. Thank you very much. So I'm really inspired to channel this message for you right now that's coming through for me. And the title is How to Quantum Leap in 1 Day. Now, listen, when I say this, I want to preface the audio by saying this. You can switch realities in 1 day. You can switch timelines in 1 day. The difference is, are you going to make it your permanent home? Are you going to reside there permanently? Are you going to be consistent, diligent, and determined to make this your normal, your new normal? That you can visit that parallel reality and that parallel timeline. You absolutely can. And in fact, you're already doing it. Maybe not on purpose, but what I teach here is how to quantum leap on purpose and stay there. And that's the consistency I'm talking about. So if right now you're dealing with a situation that's rather bothering you, whether that's SP, whether that's money, whether that's whatever, some kind of a situation, and you really want out, you really want to change, you really want something to change and change right away, okay? I've done this innumerable times in my life, more times that I can count, and the process is always the same, so I'm going to outline it for you. So I just want to also say that right before the big level up, it really just gets hardest. All right. So you should understand that if things are hard for you right now, it's because the potential for the level up is so huge. So please have this perspective. I've learned this again in my life many years ago, over 10 years ago now, that every single time I've leveled up, things were so dicey that, quite frankly, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work, and that's kind of like the best stance to start from, because especially when you don't know how it's going to work out and you don't have the answers and you don't know what to do in the physicality, in the sense like there's nothing to do, there are no answers present right now. The only way out is your energy. Okay, so understand, you're feeling sad, you're feeling down, you're feeling hopeless, you're feeling powerless, okay? That's the reality you're jumping from, all right? There's nothing wrong with that reality in that sense. Why? Because it catapults you. It urges you, it pushes you to jump to a higher ground. So I wouldn't necessarily judge the current situation as bad, all right? People really get carried away with these labels. I do not. I haven't done this in such a long time, ever since my own deep dive 15 years ago. I never judge things by the kind of like the face value. It always is an orchestration in your favor if you choose to look at it this way. Even if you don't choose to look at it this way, it's always in your favor, okay? The other thing is that you're always a free agent. You're not stuck in that fucking reality. That you think that you're stuck in that reality, maybe that's what makes you stuck there. Okay, if energetically you already start to belong to a different timeline, different parallel reality, all the shit shows of the world can play out around you and you are completely unbothered, and you don't deduct that this will be, again, your permanent home, so to speak, as a reality. You're a free agent in your mind already, which is where everything begins. So first order of business as a practical step is you're going through your day, and I don't believe necessarily either that if you don't achieve, this high flying altitude feeling in the morning, that you cannot achieve it, later in the day. I don't believe, I know that Abraham Hicks teaches this and other people do and all this kind of fucking jazz. Reality is somewhere, someplace, it's morning, okay? Even if in your country and in your city it is not. So right here, right now, you can choose to start quantum leaping. How do you do it? Very easy, very simple. This requires discipline, though. When I say easy, it's because it's something that you can do. Okay. Now you can just as easily not do it, which makes it easy as well, but it's easy to do it as well. The emotional detachment, which is how I help people quantum leap themselves from the old timeline altogether to the new timeline in my coaching, right? So in this case, on any such day, emotional detachment can commence. How? Well, chances are you've gone through the process of identifying certain things that truly give you bliss, infallibly so. On any day, whatever shit your situation is going on, like I said, no matter what mood you're in, there's certain items, physical items, or food items, or places, or pieces of music, or whatever does it for you. And this is what we go over in coaching. And sometimes it's so small, it's seemingly so small, but it's so huge. Why? Because it gives you the change of mood, the change of frequency. And this world is a game of frequency. Change your fucking frequency, you change your life, And so it could be so small, like a song. You play a different song, you just get into the vibe of that song. And all of a sudden, the world isn't so gray. You go for lunch to that favorite place of yours, and all of a sudden, holy shit bananas, you're inspired. And again, the world seems brighter. All right. Now, there could be innumerable things. We're not going to go through them, but there's something that you can do right now, whether that's taking a bubble bath, smell the roses, my personal favorites. Because they always work. Smelling my favorite incense, eating carrot cake, again, my personal favorites. All of these things as examples work for me. What works for you? Go and do that. Like, get off your butt, darling love, right now, and go do that shit. All right. And you're going to say, Anna, but that's not going to help me. Yes, it will. Just trust me on that. Yes, it will. Just don't look back anymore at the old reality. Yes, even if it's insisting in your fucking face, hey, pay attention to me. Hey, pay attention. No, not right now. Not ever, but not right now, especially. Okay. And grab onto this something or these certain things like to a life jacket. Spend a couple of hours ruminating in those things. And again, like for instance, as a creative person, listen, every single time I start designing a dress, I'm gone. I'm in the wonderland. I'm in the fantasy land and my mood skyrockets. You certainly have something like that, whether that's creative or not creative. Now, creative doesn't necessarily have to be arts. Like, I've met different people who are into technology and they get off on creating new things in technology, things like that, makeup artists, well, that's creative, etc., etc., etc. Just what do you really love begins the question. Now, of course, all right, of course, parenthesis here, it really does help if you start your day with that each and every single time, like literally jump out of bed and start doing things that really elevate your mood. But if you didn't do that, there's no problem still. You can start right now, as I say. And all of a sudden, your mood switches. It just does. It just really does. Now, the next thing, okay, the very important thing that you will then follow this action or whatever, maybe the listening to the song, maybe whatever, eating your favorite food, etc., etc. The next thing, now that you are in this frequency, okay, is to identify what is it that you fucking want, all right? As a for instance, okay, you're dealing with an SP situation and you haven't heard from them. Let's just use this example. And you really kind of strung out on this particular day because you really feel like there's no movement whatsoever fucking ever. And you're just really doubting everything under the sun, and you're doubting manifestation and all that jazz. And I understand that. Many people go through that, okay? And I also understand how it can seem that way. Nevertheless, the universe is always working and it's just waiting for you to get off your ass and adjust your frequency. That's the whole shebang. Okay. But you yourself, instead of being in support of the current reality, the old reality, let's start making decisions like where you want to go. In other words, give me the address, the destination of the timeline and the parallel reality that you want to go to. Enough of the shit that you don't want. We heard enough about it. You've complained enough about it. You've worried. You've stressed yourself out enough about it. All of that was educational, I'm sure. It is. It really is. Because, listen, every situation comes with golden nuggets. It's not a laughing matter. It's true story. But now that you have, let's identify a solution to the problem, right? So the solution would be, I want to hear from my SP, and this is what I want to hear. This is what would really pacify me right now. Or if it's a money thing, this is the amount that would really make things right for me right now, and I would really relax about certain things, okay? But don't go halfway, go all the way, all right? Meaning something that would really pacify you, not for 5 fucking minutes, but something that would really start adjusting things in such a way where you would feel like, oh, all right, now we're making progress kind of situation. Now I feel good about life in general, the universe, manifestation, and myself kind of situation. All right. Something that truly would be a step in the right direction. Now, everybody's individual, so you will come up with your own situation. So, in fact, whilst you're listening, or maybe you can pause it, come up with something right now that would truly bring you joy, that would truly start feeling like more of a solution rather than the fucking problem. All right. In addition to that, I want to squeeze in that it has to be somewhat believable to you. Don't start off jumping from a shit show reality to some kind of a fairy tale right away. It's going to be unbelievable to you. It's going to be harder. So a stepping stone, in fact, something that is believable to you, but definitely that would make you feel good. All right. So now that you have it on paper, and did I mention write it down? Yes, write it down and look at it. Okay. Maybe you write a little blurb about it. This is what's going on, and this is how it happened. There's no problem, by the way, parenthesis here, to write down how it happened if you don't have any resistance. Now, the fact that universe always will trump that and supersede your expectations is obvious, but that you could, squeeze in certain conditions and things and how things could happen so that your mind can start, your human mind now, can start buying into this premise. Absolutely, darling, go for it and create a little blurb, a little story. Okay, so now that you have this on paper, realize you just opened the door to that parallel reality, to that timeline. And now you get a whiff of this feeling. All right. So if it's money, I'm going to do this, that, and the other with this money. I'm going to pay this. I'm going to pay that. I'm going to buy myself this. I'm going to da 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 da. If it's the text message from SP, I feel so fuzzy and warm and delighted. I feel like the first time that we met, I feel like I'm back on track. What was I thinking? Doubting myself. What was I thinking? Doubting manifestation. I was so silly. It's right here in front of me. Okay. You get the whiff of this frequency. You get the whiff of this vibration. And to the best of your ability, act on that reality. Act like that person who would have that reality, who would have that result right now. And may I tell you something now? This is your real reality. The reality that you're in right now is some kind of a distortion. that happened because of your mama drama panorama, as I've mentioned in the beginning, influenced by your past, in fact, some kind of unprocessed something, okay, or maybe universe directing you, as I've said again in the beginning, and pushing you towards some kind of a breakthrough that otherwise could not have happened in either scenario, all right? By entertaining the solution, you have now reacquainted yourself with the actual reality that is your home base. If it feels like it resonates, if it feels like this it belongs, I belong here, I feel good here, this is your real reality. The one that you're observing, still currently observing, is no longer. Even if you see the same shit going on and the bills come in and you can't pay them or whatever, and the SP is still with the third party and all that shit, just don't look at it as much as you can and understand this is where I'm jumping from. I don't really need to pay attention. I'm a free agent. I can float like a balloon out of this fucking reality into the new reality, giving myself permission, not asking for permission from anybody else, but in fact giving myself permission to completely ignore that shit. If I don't want to be part of this world, I need to be able to ignore it somehow, some way. I need to be so enthralled with the solution and the way that the solution feels that I'm able to let go completely of the shit show and start becoming more biologically a match to this frequency. All right, to this version of myself who is like, yeah, already making the shopping list in their mind, already making plans to what I'm going to wear to the date with this person. You understand? Like the process has now begun. The wheel has now begun to turn in the right direction. And now you're picking up on the thoughts of that version of yourself in that parallel timeline or parallel reality that you're already making plans, assuming this is fucking true, because it is. Now, the last thing is not really the last thing, but the last thing in the process of just kind of like deliberately and on purpose choosing this timeline and jumping there is to make a declaration. Now, those who know me and those who have been following me for quite some time know that I don't prefer the terminology of affirmation, and I don't really recommend affirmations all that much, not at all actually. But what I do recommend is to create a declaration. A declaration is very personable. It's not something you fished out of YouTube by some generic kind of affirmation tape. It's very personable. It's very personal. It means something to you. It rings a bell with you specifically. So you have to be very kind of meticulous about how you will compose it, right? A declaration could be, let's just say my SP suddenly realized that they want to be with me. If they're with a third party, let's just say. They suddenly had this epiphany, a realization that actually we belong together. And right now they're on their way back to me. Something to that effect. Now, you don't have to go with this. It could be a different situation. Just make a declaration. You know what? Let's just say my SP realized that I'm the one and they're thinking about reaching out to me. They want to reach out to me. They want marriage with me. Go with your situation and compose. Don't make it too long, but make a declaration like this is what the fuck is happening. If you're bold enough, it, again, depends on the person, right? If you're bold enough, if you haven't, even if you haven't heard from this fucking SP for like, I don't know, months and months, and if you're bold enough and it's somewhat believable to you, it has to be believable, as I said, that your SP suddenly changed their mind and they actually are thinking about marrying you, then write that shit down. Okay? Listen, how you know that it's believable to you is that you can access that parallel reality in feeling. If you cannot even entertain it, even as a joke, just don't worry about it for the time being. Go with some, like a small step. Again, they want to reach out to me. They can't wait to talk to me. They can't wait to apologize to me. Okay, you can go with that then. Again, baby steps before the huge kind of euphoria jump. All right. But listen, even the smallest step, doesn't it feel so much better than remaining where you are and doing absolutely nothing about it, right? Yes. So once you make this declaration, you literally are now part of that world. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it becomes entirely your choice, entirely your decision. Are you going to stay in that world, or are you going to let emotionally the shit show still, if it's still present, which probably it is, somewhat present, on its way out, but still kind of present, like an old employee that, they're fired and, they put in their 2 weeks notice or whatever the fuck it is, but there's still kind of lingering situation. Doesn't mean that you don't have to, ignore them. You can and you should, kind of situation. But you're now become a part of a new world. And notice how even in listening to this audio, your vibration has changed. At least I hope it did. Okay, I can feel your vibration from here. Time and space, they don't really exist. And I know the people that I channel for energetically. I always, like, before I record, I always send the love vibration towards everybody who's going to listen to. I meditate a little bit and all that kind of good stuff. And so in just listening to this audio, your vibration has changed. You now have become a part of this world. Now keep the relationship going with this world. And how do you do it? In the very beginning, when you're making this jump and you're kind of like settling in this reality, you're going to have to be very disciplined and deliberate. And you're going to have to remind yourself through various things which reality you're now a part of. So obviously writing stuff down is job one. So you're going to have, like, in my coaching, we use index cards a lot. They're like 3x5 cards where you can write stuff down, and this declaration belongs on an index card. So put it by your bedside, put it on your desk, wherever it is, carry it around with you. I hear all sorts of things in my coaching, but it has to be a constant reminder. This is what I'm doing. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. You even if you have a situation where you're tempted to slip up, and again the 3D reminds you of some bullshit, you're like, no, 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 we're not dealing with that anymore. I'm now a part of a brand new reality. I'm so fucking excited. You just don't even fucking understand. I'm so looking forward to having the solution in my lab. I feel it vibrationally already in the room so much that it feels like it's physical. And that's how you're on the precipice of manifesting the first manifestation that's going to be the indication that you are indeed the confirmation of that you're part of this world. Like, listen, when everything was going to shed and all of a sudden things start turning in your favor, even the smallest confirmation is a fucking victory and cause for celebration. Yes, because now you literally can see that what you've done is working. So that's encouragement number one. But stay put. Like I would say, initially for the first 3 days at least, you're going to have to be very, very disciplined, very, very diligent, and not allow yourself, refuse to be a part of the old world. It's going to get easier and easier and easier. You're going to elevate yourself in frequency so much that even, like, let's just say nothing changed. It's not going to happen like that. But I'm just saying, even if nothing changed on the outside, your internal world, it changed so much during those 3 days that you couldn't give a flying fuck about what's going on in the 3D. You couldn't give a flying fuck about what is going on outside. Your internal world shines through so much. It vibrates such magic, such miracles, such magnificence that you're like, I know my name they're about to text me. I know my name they want to marry me. Because I've just made a declaration and I have reminded myself diligently and in a disciplined way. So I am God of my reality. I am the golden Buddha, and I've made the decision, a conscientious and very responsible, mind you, decision, not to be miserable anymore, but to actually choose on purpose and be responsible enough to choose the reality of which I want to be a part of, permanently so. That's responsible. That's being responsible. You know why? Parenthesis here, because ultimately on this earth, your primary role is to be joy, to be of light, to be of happiness, so that you can radiate this out into the universe and be of benefit, not only just to you, but to others. And that's the whole shebang. Now, let me tell you something. If you do this, the universe will confirm to you, and something will happen to confirm your declaration, but verbatim. Okay, there will be no question that you predicted it, as they say in quotations. You predicted this, but all that you did was to choose the address of that timeline, the vibrational address of that parallel reality to which you actually belong, because that's what excites you at that moment. The old reality doesn't fucking excite you. Maybe there were lessons there to learn, no doubt about it, the golden nuggets that you'll cash in and blah blah blah. All that is completely valid, by the way, but it no longer excites you. It doesn't bring you joy. You have to move on to something that brings you joy, which is why I'm offering endlessly these examples like taking bubble bath, doing what you love. It's imperative that you have these things available to you and you do them daily, okay, diligently, all right, like almost like a soldier. You have to have this discipline about you, and this is how you will produce magnificent, miraculous results. Something will happen as soon as today. Now, don't do it with effort, parenthesis here. For those of you who really try a little too hard, do it with joy. Do it with lighthearted, attitude. Do it like, I'm so happy now that. It's kind of like give the feeling before you receive. One of my declarations in my office right now, it's like give the feeling before you receive. I'm so happy now that this money landed in my lap. I don't give a fuck how. It came benevolently. Okay, I didn't have to screw anybody over. It just came to me. I didn't have to devise a plan. Okay, I'm so happy that I'm hearing from my SP and that manifestation actually does work. Telepathy does fucking work. Okay, and we'll discuss telepathy more in other audios because I have some things to, to tell you later. Don't you know? I'm so happy, first of all, that I'm in charge of my fucking reality. And just like that, out of nothing, I can create everything. And I can create any mood I want and thus start becoming a part of a completely different reality. Nothing has changed in the physicality yet, but I gave myself permission to be this free agent, this free parallel timeline, parallel reality traveler just by thought and emotion alone. Isn't this magical, ladies and gentlemen? And this is the power that you possess every single day. The thing is, of course, like I discussed in the beginning, is that you have to be disciplined. You have to, just like you go, and brush your teeth every morning, or at least I hope you do. You have to be consistent with the self-care on the outside as well as on the inside. Just like you take care of your mental health, again, I hope you do. In the same manner, you have to take care of your emotions as tools that will propel you towards the reality and the timeline that you actually prefer. And that's the discipline that, I work on in my coaching, because I understand how hard it is to part with something so familiar. It just goes on automatic pilot and it runs your life when you no longer want it to be part of your life. Now, don't judge it, like I said. This reality right here that you quantum leaping yourself from, that you're jumping from, please don't be harsh on it. It got you where you are today. Thank it profusely and say, thank you so much. I know you're here to serve me. I'm not mad at you. You've got me here and I learned so much. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. And I'm sure, okay, that even if I don't realize right now, there's so many golden nuggets that I will later discover. Okay, don't judge the current circumstances. It will help you quantum leap faster if you walk away or quantum leap away from it with gratitude. Try to be grateful, and that's going to speed things up something considerable for you. Being resentful and bitter and criticizing and arguing against creation, it's just not going to help you whatsoever. You're better off, again, like a balloon, like a free agent, travel parallel realities wherever the fuck you please, but you can't bring resentment and criticism even of the current reality with you and be a balloon. I think that makes sense. But here's the kicker. Once you make this one quantum leap happen and your declaration, in fact, comes true. Now it's imbued with feeling, and now, most importantly, you know your power. So you're never left in doubt or like confusion that the power actually resides with you. So it's if you choose that day to exercise your power and remain in the ideal reality, so to speak, for you, for that moment, that's ideal. Tomorrow you might change your mind or whatever. A month from now, you might want more things, all right? But the thing is, even if you end up again in a situation which can possibly happen where you're going to be unhappy, understand you're not unhappy because things have gone wrong. You're unhappy because you've exhausted this reality. You've learned everything you can learn, hopefully so, okay? You are no longer excited by that reality. Time to move on to something that actually excites you. And it becomes no question that the power is in your hands, and you alone can exercise that power on any such given day. So will you do it? Thank you very much for listening. All the information from me again is below. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.